So, as the title suggests, am I the only one still excited for Blue Mage? Hello, Meoni here and welcome back to another discussion video. This time I really wanted to talk about both the original hype for Blue Mage and the eventual aftermath of its actual announcement. Aside from the leaks and whether you were in the corner of wanting or not wanting a Blue Mage announcement at Las Vegas Fan Festival, it happened, and we got a slick teaser video featuring the job, its ability to capture monster moves and use them, along with the assorted camaraderie that's usually involved at FanFest, with the president of Square Enix dressing up as a Blue Mage on stage. What we didn't know immediately was what this limited job title was about, and how it would spell controversy within the general games media and fans of 14 alike for the coming days, and probably for the weeks to come. It was described in the letter from a producer live on Sunday, the day after the announcement of Blue Mage on stage, was what exactly this limited job title meant. The job, if you missed all of the information, will essentially be unable for at least the time of implementation in patch 4.5 to actively enter any matchmaking services. That includes dungeons, trials, raids, alliance raids, PvP, deep dungeons, you name it, it will not be able to enter them with the usual duty finder. However, it was confirmed that you'll still be able to make complete pre-mades using the party finder tool to make groups for many of those instances and include the Blue Mage players in them. Instead of endgame then, the Blue Mage will by the sound of it be a solo experience, i.e. whilst they plan to raise its level cap from level 50 in subsequent patches after 4.5, it will remain for the most part a solo experience. Coming with that experience is its own private duty called the Masked Carnival, where you will essentially be fighting monsters in arena battles in waves of 3, where apparently you employ abilities learnt from open world monsters and monsters in instance content alike to use in these arena battles to exploit various weaknesses and help you defeat the monsters in question. Aside from that, we were told that Blue Mage will start at level 1 and you must level to level 50 through either pre-made dungeons or the open world, where apparently the experience will be increased for Blue Mages in particular, so that means fates, side quests and monster grinding. So why then are people upset? Well, it's fairly obvious, because it isn't going to be usable from what we have been told so far in endgame activities. No endgame raiding, no current endgame content whatsoever, and that's a problem for the majority of players, as if they wanted Blue Mage, they would probably have wanted it to be usable in that area of the game, much like Red Mage and Samurai's implementation. And whilst that's obviously the controversy's stem point, it's clear that the real reason, I think, is that it's called Blue Mage. They decided to take something that people are familiar with and certain parts of the community want badly and segregate it in its implementation into mostly a solo experience. And whilst that argument has huge merit, that if it was a completely new class not seen before, completely original to 14, then the controversy might have been a little lighter, but they called it Blue Mage. So why did I make a video saying that I'm excited for this solo content? Do I not like playing with others? Well, yes I do. I love the idea of this being another normal job, but for the most part, what would have had to have been done to make Blue Mages fit in? A lot of the spells and abilities Blue Mages historically employ are quite powerful, being that you learn them from monsters. But is that an excuse to not include it as a regular job? I'm immediately going to change my opinion and I'm going to say I don't think so. They could have dumbed it down, so to speak, to balance it accordingly, and it could be just another Red Mage type implementation, just another caster, with its own little perks. But they decided to not do that and actually wanted to make it, in their words, a pure Blue Mage experience. Whilst I don't agree with that excuse entirely, and to be frank with you, I'm on the fence about any of the excuses they've so far provided as to not include this in the meta at endgame, I do still feel quite excited for it nonetheless, and the reasons for that mostly include that this is solo content designed around a challenge in effectively a monster arena. Since playing Final Fantasy X all of those years ago, I fell in love with the monster arena in the Calmlands. You could battle a series of ever-increasing difficulty waves of monsters for rewards, an actively exciting optional activity to do before you finish the storyline. I've always loved where in the original Final Fantasy games, the single-player experiences, where you reach a certain point and it's like, well, are you sure you want to continue? You can't access the main world after this point. And I always pressed no, saved in an extra slot, and then finished the game, then reloaded the save before the final boss area or whatever it was, and backtracked to the content I had missed. The idea then of a similar thing to do in 14 excites me to no end. If you for the moment just ignore that it's Blue Mage and realise that this is effectively a massive time sink on the side that's completely optional, likely to have cosmetic rewards and achievements associated with it, then I think it's much easier to stomach. However, if you then say they took the comfort zone of you being able to do the mass carnival with any old job and made you play this Blue Mage job instead, that you actually have to actively go into the world and source the abilities for, it gives the content limitations and ultimately a challenge. Sure, people may smash through all 27 or so stages on day one, but this is also confirmed to be ever growing and expanded upon across patches. The fact we actually get something to do until Shadowbringers comes out that isn't just another Eureka instance, even though we're getting that as well in the form of High Datos, is actually a dream come true. So you might at this point be thinking, well, Meoni, it's not right. They're trying to make a pure Blue Mage experience, but in 11 they didn't use this excuse, they just adapted it for the content and people loved it accordingly. And I don't disagree with that. But when it comes down to it, I'm just happy to see they went somewhere with it at all. If they have the stigma of not wanting to adapt it for 14's endgame for any reason, I would actually rather have it in the game in some way than not at all. I'm definitely leaning towards that side. A year down the line from now, where nobody knows what's going to happen with this content, I might be like, well, that was a waste of development time, wasn't it? But when it comes to Final Fantasy, innovation is extremely cool to see. You don't see this from many other developers, especially not MMORPGs. I just think we should give it a go, enjoy the content for what it is, and well, let's see. However, the continued death threats to the development team because people didn't get what they wanted, and other idiocy on the forums is frankly childish to see, and we don't need that, especially when people these days leave games for not innovating or trying new ideas for several years. Either way, thank you for watching, let me know what you think below, try to be as civil as possible, and I'll see you all next time.